everybody, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. My name is Mark Starr, and tonight I've got a Hopry first for you. I'm going to drink a beer out of a can. Now, a lot of you guys out there who are into craft beer, you know that canning is becoming more popular every day. This is a brewery that I think is, doing some really amazing beers in cans. It's called Ska Brewing, and they are from Durango, Colorado, which if you look at the map of Colorado, they're actually down in the southwestern corner of the state. But this is one of the beers that I see a lot of people talking about the most. It's their Modus Hoperandi, which I think is a pretty clever name for a beer. It's a traditional India Pale Ale, so just American IPA. And I've had, I think, only maybe one or two other IPAs in a can. One of them I know being the Caldera IPA, which, when I go down to the Lake of the Ozarks, I always bring a six-pack of the Caldera, when I'm floating in the lake and I've got it in my cooler cup. It's nice to have a really solid IPA in a can. So I've not had the Modus Hoperandi yet. I was in a local liquor store a couple days ago. I saw a six-pack sitting there and I thought, you know what, let's rock it. So I figured I'd share that one with you tonight. I kind of like to see how it stands up to the Caldera IPA, because maybe I've got a new IPA that I can take down to the lake now in the summer and keep stacked up in the cooler, though I know it's a little bit expensive, but hey, you know what? When you're on vacation, sometimes, you like to spend a little bit of money to have some pretty good beer. So let's go ahead and, well, we're not going to bust the cap on this one now, are we? So, all right. And I'm not going to pour it out. I thought about using a glass, and there's just something cool about drinking out of a can. If they're going to go through the effort to put this in a can, damn it, I'm going to drink out of the can. So there's not going to be any swirling. There's not going to be any looking at color, though I imagine it's probably gold and somewhat hazy because of the hops. The fire drill. So anyway, let me see if I can smell it. Wow, this actually smells really hoppy. All right, well, let me see if I can give it a little baby swirl here. Yeah, I mean, wow, there's a lot of citrus on here, like a lot of the grapefruit, pine. That's really all I'm getting, and that's making me pretty happy, so let's give it a try. So there's a good amount of bitterness in there. Everything that I smelled on the nose, from the grapefruit to the pine, it's every bit of that in the actual can itself. Yeah, I would say that this is actually probably a lot better than the Caldera, and I really like the Caldera IPA. But this one is actually really big. Let's see what the alcohol by volume on this one is. It doesn't say. I'm imagining it's probably around 6.5% though. Lots of flavor. I mean, in this society today, we're all used to drinking Bud and Miller and Coors, which, hey, if that's your thing, I'm not knocking it. But drinking beer out of a can with this much flavor is kind of perplexing to me, to be honest with you. I'm used to drinking big beers like this from a bottle or even on tap. And I think people are always kind of concerned that if you're drinking out of a can, you're going to get that sort of aluminum flavor added to the beer. I don't really taste it in this one. Wow. Now see, I picture taking this beer to like tailgating and things like that. Though my biggest fear would be that drinking socially like that and drinking beers that are 6-7%, I probably wouldn't remember the second half of a football game, which, hey, you know what? In some cases, if my team's not ahead, maybe I want to forget the second half. But yeah, this is a really solid IPA. I wouldn't say that I'm surprised. I'm happy that it tastes this good. Every once in a while, I really do like a beer that you can just click the top on, kick back, not have to worry about pulling out the stem glassware, swirling it, getting all into it. That's very important for me when it comes to beer, but I'm really starting to get into the thought process and the idea behind canning these types of beers. This one is definitely a winner for me. I mean, the bitterness in here is really nice. So if you think about the fact that there are essentially three types of hops. You have bittering hops, you have flavoring hops, and then you have aroma hops. And really the key to having what I feel to be a highly successful IPA, you really kind of need to have those three be in synchronization. So if you have an IPA that's way too bitter and doesn't have enough aromatic hops or flavoring hops, all you're left with is a lot of bitterness. On the other hand, if you have too many floral hops or aromatic hops and not enough bittering hops, you're really not getting that mouthfeel and the balance that you really want from one of these beers. I would say that this is probably a touch heavy on the bittering hops, but I'll tell you, the flavoring and the aromatic hops are really there. Maybe if they back down those bittering hops just a touch, this might actually be one of the best IPAs that I've had. When I say IPA, we're not talking Imperial IPAs, of course, so that kind of rules out, the Hop Slams and the Dreadnoughts and the Pliny the Elders and things of that nature. But when it comes to just a regular India Pale Ale, this is probably in the top three. Really looking to try some more beers by Ska Brewing. I will tell you that I had their Decadent IPA. Of course, that's been, 6-8 months ago. I wasn't, overly excited about that one. To be fair, a couple of my friends and I did have a Pliny the Elder and a Dogfish Head 120 in that same day. I think we probably made the mistake of drinking the Decadent after the 120, which, as you guys know, or maybe some of you don't know, once you drink a Dogfish Head 120, your palate's pretty much done for the day. So, but anyway, Ska Brewing, really enjoying this beer. Definitely like the fact that, like I said, I can come home from work, I can have these just sitting in the fridge, bust one open, come down, sit on the couch, turn on a little television, unwind from the day, which, hey, I do a lot of that these days. So anyway, not much else to say here, guys. If you can find this Modus Hoperandi, definitely go get it. I think it's probably $8-9 a six-pack. I think mine was $7.99, so maybe $8.50 a six-pack. And if you hear people say, "Oh, I don't know, $8.50 a six-pack," well, hey, guess what, buddy? You're going to pay like $4.25 for a Coors Light at a bar. So take that and multiply it by 6, and you've got a $25 six-pack of Bud Light. So I think this is a pretty good value. I think the beer is exceptional. And let's keep supporting the guys that are moving to canning. I'd like to see some Imperial Stouts and some barley wines and maybe even sour ales end up in cans one day. I think that'd be a great thing. But anyway, if you're following me on Twitter, you can go to twitter.com/thehopry. Please go to my website, www.thehopry.com. Leave me some comments. We'll reply, get some good conversation going, maybe talk about music. What have you been listening to lately? Why don't you go into my comments section, tell me what music you've been feeling lately, and anyway, we'll go from there. But my name is Mark Starr. Thanks a lot for coming back to the Hopry. We'll see you later.